Two more days to talk about in the Big Brother 26 house. I think the biggest thing to talk about over the past 2 days is Leah's abysmal gameplay or lack thereof. I just sit here and wonder how Leah, after Quinn is put up on the block, Leah wants to isolate herself and take it worse than Quinn as if she was the one that was put up on the block. This display from Leah has been truly pathetic. Almost, but not quite as pathetic as Quinn's little simping for her in general, but I think the display from Leah over the past 2 days, going on 3 days, has been truly terrible, not just for her game, but for her character. Yes, a couple nights ago, there was some hoopla on social media about a talk between Leah and Angela, where they were both playing the victim, Karening it up, some would say, and Angela has shown some Karen tendencies for sure. Now, it's not a bad thing for them to want to get Chelsea out of the game, for them to want to get T-Car out of the game. They are two of the front runners to win the game. My problem from that conversation is less so with Angela and definitely more so with Leah, because in that conversation, Leah was trying to make it out that Chelsea is the angry black woman stereotype because of a conversation that was between Leah and Chelsea and MJ on Sunday night going into Monday. And I touched upon this a bit the other day, where Chelsea and MJ both did a terrible job with Leah in a jury sense, I suppose. And clearly Leah did take that badly. But in Leah's retells, as you see me talking here about how that was three people in that conversation, her mentioning of MJ is nowhere to be found. And quite frankly, in that conversation with MJ and Chelsea talking to Leah, MJ was far more of the aggressor, far more acting ridiculous with Leah. But of course now Leah is painting Chelsea as the angry black woman while not even mentioning MJ. And I think this is once again a poor display of Leah's game overall. Leah is mad because allegedly she's the odd one out in the house, but Leah has done this to herself, never actually trying to make alliances. She's just upset that the alliances didn't come to her. Leah is trying to play this like it is Big Brother 11 or something, and there just should be a bunch of white people in the house, and that's not the case. Maybe Leah doesn't fit in because she doesn't know how to connect with people that aren't white. And I do think that is the case for Leah in this situation. Watching her now isolate, acting like it's everyone else's fault, like so many of them are fake and terrible and talk a lot of shit, like Leah hasn't been talking shit all season, especially about people like Rubina. Leah has been the worst one talking shit. So now her game plan was to gather MJ and Angela to keep Quinn in this game in hopes that they could pull Cam to keep Quinn in this game. But where Leah is going wrong, she thinks she has MJ, in my opinion, because she's the other white girl left in the house around her own age. And now MJ's playing Leah for a fool with the discussion of how she's just going to tell Angela and Leah that she's going to vote to keep Quinn when she's really going to vote to keep Kimo, and then that's going to blindside Angela and Leah and leave them on the outside of the vote. I don't know if that's actually great for MJ's social game going forward. But what I do know is that it's terrible gameplay from Leah. Her self-isolating, if Quinn goes home this week, as he probably will, because Cam has said that he has no intention of voting out Kimo, and even if he said in a conversation where MJ was throwing Leah and Angela under the bus, telling Chelsea and Cam their plan to keep Quinn and that they think they have MJ's vote, Cam said for sure he's not voting to keep Quinn, and they would need Cam in order for that to happen in the first place. So yeah, Leah is acting dead in the water and like she can't even do the only thing that has been good in this game, her social game. She has thrown that out the window to pout and sulk because Quinn was put up on the block and she wasn't able to pull off her. I honestly don't know why Leah is acting the way she is. I'm being honest, because she's been playing Quinn for a fool the whole time. Quinn's the only person still up her ass because he's pathetic. So it's just more hypocrisy from Leah because Leah, for early in the game, was calling Quinn a creep, was calling Cam dusty when she thought Cam was gonna be on the outs of the house. She dropped Cam. Now she needs Cam again. Mistake there in her game. Leah's made a ton of mistakes, and now she can't even do the only thing she's been good at, which is her social game, because she wants to sit there and feel sorry for herself when she's not even the one on the block. So if Quinn goes home this week, Leah would be the worst winner left. I don't care about the move she made last week anymore because it truly didn't matter anyway because she let Joseph go. So while I was happy to see her actually have the guts to play her own game, she didn't do enough to play it well by keeping Joseph in the house or convincing Quinn not to put up Joseph in the first place. So I know I said in my last video that MJ would be one of the worst winners left in the house when Quinn goes. Leah has far surpassed MJ as the worst winner left if Quinn goes home this week. Because at least for MJ, yeah, she doesn't have a brain, or she doesn't have a brain of her own, and kind of does what other people tell her to do. When MJ was on the bottom in this house and when MJ finally started playing, MJ has been playing hard every single day since then. Leah has not. And, you don't always have to play hard, but nobody else in the house has displayed this level of pathetic, give up attitude that Leah has displayed for the past few days. Just sitting there being a crybaby hypocrite. Like self-evict if you really feel the way you feel. I don't want to watch it anymore, and I don't feel an ounce of sympathy for Leah, quite frankly. Not only has she displayed poor behavior over the past couple days, in my opinion, but her gameplay completely in the shitter. As for MJ, the reason she does listen to Chelsea and Cam so much is because when she was at the bottom of the house, they were the only people trying to pick her up. That was good gameplay. When somebody's on the bottom, you should try and pick them up. And you can say maybe somebody should do that to Leah besides Angela right now, but when Leah's self-isolating herself, not even wanting to play, who could even try to do that? I am glad that MJ threw Leah under the bus because obviously if anybody's seen any of my videos this entire season, I want Quinn out of this game. And so, yeah, whatever it takes to get Quinn out of this game is what I want. Some comments from Fates Gates on my last video I do want to go over because he said one of the worst things about Quinn that makes him cringe is his simping, and I have to agree because that is definitely one of the many reasons I can't stand Quinn as a player. I get that he's young, but he's not that young. At some point, you can't be played by women this bad. I mean, you can't be this down bad on national television. It's not a good look there, Quinn. The other comment from Fates Gates was that Kimo is a lazy player, and that is also for certainly true. Kimo, who's been on the block again this week, didn't really campaign at all until today, and hasn't really done a good job of campaigning today. Kimo is lucky that he has the trio of Rubina and T-Core to vote for him to stay no matter what, and he's lucky that even though Kimo is a lazy player, Quinn has done such a terrible job in this game that he doesn't have any true allies left besides Leah, who also is not even his true ally because she's thrown him under the bus multiple times this season. So that's Quinn's game in a nutshell, and why I think he is the worst player this season, I suppose up there with Matt and non-player Kenny, if you really want to dig into it. Now, for all the T-Core haters out there, and there's been a lot of T-Core haters in my comments over the past few weeks. It's been about 3 weeks already where people are in my comments saying, I hope T-Core goes home next week. And here we are 3 weeks later, and she still hasn't touched the block. But I will say that this is the first time going into this next week where T-Core is actually at risk in the game. She's played such a good social game that it's taken 2 months for her to actually be vulnerable in this game. But I do think if she's sitting there up on the block next week with Rubina or sitting there next to Cam, the votes are there to get her out. Because if she's next to Rubina, I think that Kimo can be convinced to keep Rubina over T-Core in that situation. This scenario is if Kimo stays tomorrow. I think if Kimo somehow goes home tomorrow, which doesn't look likely at all because both Cam and MJ said they're not voting him out, even though he hasn't really campaigned much. If Kimo goes, and I think T-Core is even at more risk against more people, but if Kimo stays, which seems the likely scenario as of this recording, I think T-Core is most at risk sitting on the block next to Rubina and Cam. There would be votes against T-Core in that situation. I think sitting next to Chelsea, it would be close because Chelsea is this big threat. Maybe there are more numbers to vote out Chelsea over T-Core in that situation, even though Leah and Angela have had conversations that if T-Core is there at the end, she's winning next to anyone, which I said weeks ago because T-Core has actually had a social game and gotten people to jury that she needed to get to jury to vote for her at the end. So, yeah. If T-Core's sitting next to Kimo, I think T-Core can convince Rubina to save her over Kimo. They've gotten very close. But maybe not. Maybe that is not true. Either way, though, I do think T-Core is finally going to be at risk for the first time. So, for weeks, the T-Core haters have been in my comments saying, I hope she goes home next week. Well, maybe the 4th week in a row is the charm, and you might finally get T-Core out of this game. I also had a comment trying to say that T-Core is just as bad of a player as Quinn. Let's squash that real quick. The biggest difference between why Quinn's game sucks and T-Core's game hasn't is that T-Core got to jury with her 2 strongest allies. She also has Chelsea there, who, well, I think Chelsea knows T-Core needs to get out of this game at some point late. If Chelsea's in jury, though, and T-Core's at the end, T-Core could get her vote too. I think if Cam's in jury, T-Core could get Cam's vote. T-Core got to jury with people that T-Core wanted to get to jury with. I know Tucker stands still like to say that getting Tucker out was a mistake. As I've said many times during the last 2 weeks Tucker was in the game, Tucker was not a good shield for people because he was too chaotic. A chaotic shield is not a good shield in my opinion. So I know Tucker fans are still upset with T-Core, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Why Quinn's game sucks in comparisons is that because Quinn let all of his closest allies go home. 2 of them went home on his own HOHs, and then getting out Joseph last week was such a goof. All Quinn did was get to jury with Leah. And Leah, as I said earlier, was never even a real ally to Quinn. And Quinn has said now that he would throw his game away for Leah. Newsflash, Quinn, you already have. That's why you're in jury with no real allies. Because you've seen this tunnel vision with Leah. Crazy. And then from Leah and that thing with Quinn, we got to talk about MJ and Cam, I suppose. MJ giving Cam a massage last night when he was shirtless. I do think MJ likes Cam, and I don't think MJ knows how to deal with these feelings she has of liking Cam, especially that since MJ knows that Chelsea also likes Cam. Much like it is obvious to Leah that Quinn is obsessed with her and would do anything for her, guys can also tell when we're not as pathetic as Quinn is and a simp, guys can also tell when girls are into them. And I think Cam knows that MJ is into him. But Cam has said now, especially over the past week a lot, he's made it pretty clear that he's not into MJ. And Cam didn't ask MJ for a massage. At least that was not one of the first few people he asked for a massage last night. But MJ was certainly the most willing. And MJ always wants to spend all this time with Cam. She's always trying to be really, really, really close to Cam. It's very clear to me that MJ is actually into Cam on more than just a friend level. But it's an odd situation. All I know is, we have the trio, T-Core, Kimo, Rubina, and now we have the throuple of Cam, MJ, Chelsea. I will be referring to those three as a throuple from now on. It is, if Quinn goes tomorrow, it is kind of becoming the trio versus the throuple. So, yeah, with Angela in the middle, Leah's still there, even though she doesn't want to play anymore, apparently, because she's being pathetic. I think MJ, as I said in my last video, I went on her pretty hard because she doesn't have a brain of her own, and she kind of just does anything. Chelsea can convince MJ of anything at this point, I think. But it is because when MJ was at her lowest in the game, Chelsea, Cam, Brooklyn, when she was still there, were the people trying to pick MJ up. So that is why MJ is loyal to them at this point in the game. MJ would certainly not be the worst winner this season. I still don't think she would be a good winner, but we'll, as I keep saying, we'll deal with that if it gets close to MJ actually winning the game. But as players, there's people I like and people I don't like. But as people, there's very few people that actually don't get on my nerves. Like most seasons, most of the players get on my nerves. There's very few people I actually like. And I gotta say, MJ's actually one of them. The three people that get on my nerves the least are T-Core. I just like T-Core. It is what it is. Cam's so chill. Like, come on. It's hard to dislike Cam, in my opinion. And then MJ would be the other one. I think MJ... How do I put this? I've called her dumb, and she is. I mean, she could be pretty dumb. I'm sorry, she can be. But she's actually chill, I think. Nowhere near as chill as Cam, but she's chill. And her little crush on Cam, I think it definitely annoys Chelsea, as we've seen. And I think it actually annoys Cam at times too, but he loves a good massage or a rub or a scratch, so he can't dislike it that much. MJ is likable to me. One of few that are still likable to me. I love Chelsea as a player. She can be annoying when she's in power. She has annoyed me now twice when she's been in power. So she's not the most likable for me. Kimo, like, where do I start? He's just an annoying person to watch on feeds, but the way he eats, the way he's disgusting. Kimo's disgusting, and I don't really enjoy watching him on feeds. Rubina has stepped up her social game as a player. Rubina, to me, has become a lot more enjoyable. And I think if T-Core goes home and Rubina's at the end, and T-Core and Kimo are in jury, Rubina has a good shot against most people at the end of this game now. So she really stepped up her social game when Tucker went home. So big ups to her. As a person, though, she's done too much crying and complaining with her relationship with Tucker. Too much of her game for me has revolved around Tucker. And I don't enjoy that. Leah's very unlikable to me. I've never enjoyed Leah as a person. Quinn, obviously, I don't like. And then there's Angela, whose fake crying has annoyed me for over a month now. She's good TV. Not exactly likable, let's be real. Lastly, Angela's game. I do feel like the last couple of days she's been trying to play people against each other. I don't think it's necessarily working. She's just trying to get the target off of her. And I think next week might be the first week in a while where the target's not on her, depending on who wins the HOH. If the trio wins the HOH, Angela's probably going back up on the block. if MJ or Leah win, Angela's probably not going back up on the block. These are the people now Angela's saying she wants to work closely with. That hasn't worked out for anybody in the game so far, but maybe for a week it might. So I don't think that the target's going to be as big on Angela this next week, depending who wins HOH. But I don't think her playing people against each other is necessarily working. I feel like she's trying to play MJ against a trio, which is happening. MJ wants T-Core or somebody from the trio out next. I think Cam wants Kimo out next. I think Angela is trying to play Leah against other people. I think it works in Angela's favor that Leah is isolating herself, because then Leah only has Angela next week. So there's some things working out for Angela, but I don't think enough people in the house take Angela seriously, as we've seen for months now, because we see that the reason Angela is saved a lot is because her social game is so terrible that people think they could beat her at the end. We'll see if that remains true. If she does make the end, there's been theories in my comments that production is helping Angela stick around. I buy into those theories a little bit because last week and this week, Leah has hinted a couple times that production wanted her to use the veto last week. So I do think there's a little bit of truth, and production wants Angela to stick around, obviously, because she can be good TV for the episodes.